Welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to use the Bisect tool to slice up objects into smaller pieces. So let's go ahead and get to slicing. So first off, let's just do a new project, File, New, General. Or if you're just opening Blender, do New File, General. And we do not need Suzanne today, so let's just go ahead and delete her. And before we dive in, we'll do File, Save As, and I'll just call it Bisect. And we're ready to rock. So today we're going to use a gear, and to get it to appear, we need to go to Edit, go to Preferences, and under Add-ons, type in Extra. And make sure you have Add Mesh Extra Objects checked and saved. And so now what that will do is when you go to Shift A and add an object, you'll have all these extra objects down here. So let's make sure you're on your Flexible Design collection. Do Shift A under Mesh, and we'll do Gears. And we just want a little gear. So it's going to come in super, super tiny. It's like 2 millimeters, but just go ahead and confirm that. You can adjust these if you want, but you don't have to. And so we'll confirm. And we have a big hole in the middle, so let's fix that real quick. Just go to Edge Mode, double click or Alt click on this and just hit F to fill it in. And we'll do the same thing here. And F to fill it in. And let's go back to Object Mode and just click on the gear here and scale, and then just type 10. And that's going to increase this gear to about 20 millimeters. But if we look at our scale ratios, we've messed it all up. It's not 1. We want this to be 1. So just do Control A, and we're going to apply the scale. And that's just to keep, it's just good practice to keep everything at 1, nice and even. Now, let's get to slicing. So let's tab over into Edit Mode, and let's get our Bisect tool. If you don't see it, you may have the knife tool right here. Just click and hold, and select the second option, Bisect. And this is pretty cool if you ever have an object that's just like too big for your printer. You can slice it up into multiple parts. Or if you just need to chop off a piece really quickly. I don't use it too often, but I'm going to show you how to use it for 3D print design. So let's go to Front View, and notice if you have the Bisect tool and you click and drag and you let go, nothing happens. And that's because first you have to highlight what you want to bisect. So you could just highlight half of an object if you wanted to, and then when you do some bisecting, it's only going to affect whatever is highlighted. But let's just go ahead and hit A, because we want to bisect everything or slice everything. You can think of bisect as slice. That's what kind of the way I think of it. So click on your Bisect tool. We have everything selected, and let's go to Front View. And now when you click and drag, notice you see this little yellow line. That's what we're looking for. So that is the Slice or Bisect tool. So let's just slice this guy in half. So you'll click once, and then you'll get this little box that appears down here. And you can grab this little yellow arrow and kind of adjust it if you need to. So say if you didn't want it to be that low or that high, so you can, play with that. And what's really cool is you can clear the inner, and looky there. So it just easily slices an object. You can also fill it, which is nice. Or you can clear the outer and do the opposite. So that's really cool, really powerful, and it is in real time. So very fun to play with. I'm going to do clear inner because we're just going to cut off the bottom kind of at an angle there. So that's one way you could, flatten the bottom of your designs, or just chop off a piece of the bottom of your models if you need to very quickly. But let's keep going. So let's select everything again, and say if this was a huge gear and we wanted to chop it into multiple pieces and then print it ginormously on our printer, this is a method you could use. So just select all, and let's just slice right down the middle, right in here. There we go. We can adjust it. Maybe we want it to slice right there. We can even rotate it with this little ring here. So maybe you want it to be something like that. So essentially, we could clear this and fill it and do all that. But instead, what I want you to do is just keep both pieces, do fill on one of them is fine, and go to point mode. And if you hit H, that will hide everything. And it looks terrible, but if you just pick one of the sides and hit L, it will select everything And then you can do Alt-H to bring everything back. And notice we've just selected half of the model. So that's a quick trick I wanted to show y'all. And then you can hit P to pop off or separate the selection. So watch what happens over here when we hit P, and we're going to pop it off by selection. Bloop. And now we have a new piece of gear. So let's just tab over. Now we have two pieces. Let's say we wanted to slice it again. Maybe we have a really large piece that we want to slice up. And you can do this for any model that you find online or anything that you design. So let's just shift click on both of these. So we have both objects selected. Go into tab, and now both objects are in edit mode at the same time. Select everything with A, and we go and bisect this way, maybe right through here. So you can see we've got our little bisect line. We can adjust if we need to. I'm happy with that. And then again, you can fill if you want to, doesn't matter. And we're going to hide this line we have selected. Make sure you're in point mode. We'll hide, or do Alt-H. So you want to make sure you bring everything back. And now we can pop it off by selection. There we go. Go into edge mode. Select this loop. Go back to point mode. Hide it. Select the next piece. Bring it back. Make sure we have everything. And pop it off by selection. So now we've got 5 pieces. So let's just check through these. So let's go back to object mode. We've got this piece here. You can see it lit up. We've got this piece here, which is lit up. This piece is the culprit right here. So if we grab it and move it around, no, it's just a line. So we can just delete that. Just delete that. We've got that gear, that one, and that one. So we've made 4 pieces, and when we 3D print these, they're going to fit together perfectly. As long as it's a clean print, it's going to be very nice. And so now we need to, get these ready for 3D printing. So I'm just going to go to top view and kind of just space them out. Just grab and space them out just a little bit, just so we can kind of see what we're working with here. And so notice we've got some weird stuff going on here. We've got one that's completely, it's watertight. We've got one here with the big opening, and we've got 2 that have big holes in them. And so I'm going to show you how to fix all of these really easily so that you can, make these all manifold. So let's check this one. Do check all. It says it has some bad edges and some non-flat faces. So let's fix the non-flat faces first. We'll just click on that, do cleanup and distorted, and then check all. And usually this bad edges means that the normals are probably facing the wrong way. So a way to check that is just select all, go to your overlays, and under normals down here at the very, very bottom, you can turn on your normals and kind of increase these little hairs right here. So see how there's hairs on all of these faces here, but there's none down here? That's because the normals are messed up. So to fix that, just go to Mesh, Normals, or you can do Alt-N and say Recalculate Outside. Now notice we've got some little hairs popping out of our normals. And normals are just like these faces. It's just saying everything is facing outwards. And that's what we want for 3D printing. So now let's check all. Hey, and it went away. So this one's ready. Now let's go to object mode, select this one, go into edit mode and check all. So this one's got a bunch of stuff. It's a non-manifold hole. We've got non-flat faces, but let's just go ahead and say make manifold. There we go. Check all. And our non-flat faces, distorted, and check all. And there we go. So that one's fixed. Super simple. So these may be a little more tricky. So let's go into edit mode and go to our point mode and just click this one and just say F to fill that line. So now we've made a new line here. Let's just check all. So it's saying we have non-manifold edges right here. So let's just hit F, check all. We've got non-flat faces, and let's just fix that. And there we go. So super simple fix right there. And for this one, we do the same thing. So let's go into object mode, select it, go into edit mode, check all. We've got non-manifold edges. Let's just hit F to fill it. And notice we didn't add the point here. So it tried to fill in the geometry, for us, but it kind of messed up. So let's undo that. Go to point mode, select these two, hit F, and now let's check all. And now you can see we kind of help Blender decide where this line needs to be. And let's just fill it in. And we can check all. We've got some non-flat face, distorted, check all. Hey, now these are all ready to go. So we'll go into top view, and we can place these back somewhere, however we want it to look when it's 3D printing. Bring this in, maybe just like right on top. That could be really cool looking. And there we go. So now we can just tell Blender where we want to send these. Go to export, click the folder. And since this is multiple parts, I'm going to make a folder called gears and just put them in there. And we're just going to go through each one of these. And you could shift click on all and export it all as one object, but I'm going to do them individually. So just export, click this one, export, click this one, export, and click that one, export. And then let's go ahead and bring it into our slicer. And I'm in Prusa Slicer here. We're going to add our objects, and we'll just shift click on all our gears and bring them on in. And they're going to be all on top of each other. So just recalculate or arrange these. And notice that since we sliced off the bottom, it may be a little, they're kind of floating. Let's go ahead and slice it. I'll show you. So notice we don't have a nice flat bottom. Like everything's barely touching the surface bed on the first layer. So we want to fix that. So to do that, just click on one of the objects. And there's this place to face, or you can do F. And just kind of tell what face you want to be on the print bed. And notice it's just barely laying them down. And there we go. So now we've got all of our little pieces. Go to our settings, maybe do like 0.1. For infill, I'll do something funky like gyroid. And we don't need any support materials, but we may do a few rafts here just to give it a little more sticky, give it a little bit more foundation on the print bed. And let's slice it up. Hey, and that looks pretty cool, but I think it could look cooler. So I'm going to just grab these pieces, kind of arrange them in a cool layout, just for cool points, just something awesome. So there we go. Those are going to print just like that, and then just slide together. So let's go ahead and slice it up. Hey, that looks way cooler. So let's scrub through it. Looks pretty good. And let's go ahead and print that thing.